Today, President Trump is addressing the crisis on our southern border and calling for funding of the border wall, tweeting, quote, Republicans and Democrats must come together finally with a major border security package, which will include funding for the wall. After 40 years of talk, it's finally time for action. Fix the border for once and for all now. Now, the president's call for action comes as over 6,000 members of the migrant caravan have reached the Mexican border town of Tijuana. And at one point, a small group of protesters broke away from the caravan and got within 500 feet of the U.S. border. And in an interview released yesterday, get this, Hillary Clinton told The Guardian that Europe needs to get a handle on immigration to stop the growth of right-wing populists. Hillary says, quote, I think it's fair to say Europe has done its part and must send a very clear message. We are not going to be able to continue to provide refuge and support because if we don't deal with the migration issue, it will continue to roil the body politic. Joining us now with reaction is America First Action senior advisor and former Trump press secretary Sean Spicer, Fox News contributor DeRoy Murdoch, and National Border Patrol Council Vice President Art Del Cueto. All right, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. I have to start with Hillary, only because I always like to start with Hillary. I mean, did this woman, did she have a lobotomy? Why is she now saying, we've got to tell Europe they have to stop the migration? It's a royal to the body politic. Sean Spicer, hit it.
I'm not sure if anyone's listening to her. That's the bigger issue. I don't know what. I mean, it's funny. She stands in the way of immigration reform. She does everything she can to stop dealing with it in this country, and yet she wants to preach to Europe what they should be doing, and then somehow comes up to this kooky response that somehow because they've allowed all these people into their borders, had open border policies, that's given rise to the populist movement that created Brexit and Trump. I don't really even fully appreciate what she's trying to get through. It sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, DeRoy, I personally was shocked momentarily, but then when I thought it through, I said to myself, the truth is that she will change her opinion. She and Bill are notorious for this based upon the way the wind blows. So it tells me one of two things, that, you know, she's a chameleon. No, absolutely.
She is.
But secondly, that she's willing to throw the refugees to the wolves because she thinks it's helping the politics of her opponent. What does that tell you about her?
Well, I mean, it's very simple. You take whatever argument she's making about Europe and you apply here. I mean, if we're going to have this situation of chaos with people breaking in from the Guatemalan-Mexican border and then breaking into our border as well, it's only going to fuel people who believe in what President Trump says, which is we have to have border security. And I just say, look, you know, if that argument applies to Europe, it definitely applies over here as well.
All right.
Let's see if she's consistent about it.
She is. That she is. And Art Del Cueto, you are the man at the border. Tell us what is going on there and tell us what is wrong with the President of the United States saying that if you want to seek asylum, come in the right way, come through a legal, you know, entrance.
There's nothing wrong with what he's saying. Judge, the reality is we now have a president that he's doing what no other president has done, and that's pretty much making sure that our nations are secure. Short of grabbing a gun and a rifle and being at a point himself, he's done everything he can. It's now up to the Democrats and the Republicans to come together and do the right thing and help out with the bills that he's trying to present. And I'll be honest, it falls on the leadership within the DHS and Homeland Security. This is a man that's on point, and he's showing he cares.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. You want security in your borders.
Oh. You
want security in your home. Everyone locks their doors at night.
Okay, but let me ask you this. You said something. It comes down to, you know, the leaders of Homeland Security, and that would be Kirstjen Nielsen. What is she not doing right, or what is she doing wrong?
You know, what I'm saying is they need to get on the right path. When you have a president saying, I need you to stop catch and release, and catch and release has not stopped, I think that's a problem.
Okay. All right. And Sean Spicer, I mean, you were there when all this was, when you were in the White House with the catch and release that was started with the Obama administration. What can the president do about that, especially in light of this federal judge? You know, every time he does something, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment, you know, you got a federal judge willing to stop it. But what about catch and release? How do we change that?
Well, I think this president has actually changed the entire dynamic because he's made it very clear. He's talked about that they're going to be stay in Mexico, apply for asylum there unless they can prove that they're in imminent danger. He has upended all of the precedent that has gone on before this and taken away just the talk and the rhetoric that we've gotten from so many politicians and replaced it with action. This president, I think, has done as much as he possibly can through executive order and action and through his administration, through DHS. He truly does need a partner in Congress in these remaining days of this lame duck Congress to give him the funding that he needs for a border wall and border security and additional border agents.
You and I both know they don't want to give him the money for the wall. I mean, and I blame Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell for this. They limited the actual building to $1.6 billion. Is it 1.6 million? I think it's billion. All right. And in the end, I'll go to you, DeRoy. I mean, the truth is that, the party's not working with him. And now he says, I want Republicans and Democrats to come together. What leverage does the president have? He's talking about shutting down the government. I mean, what does he do?
A couple of things. One is he could shut down the government. The second thing, I think once these guys come back from Thanksgiving, he should keep the 115th Congress up on Capitol Hill until January 3rd when the Democrats come in, and they should vote, and litter his desk with legislation on immigration and other things. And the other message that has to go out to all these people we want to rush across the border is if you want to come to America, do what my mother and father did. When they left Costa Rica, they went to the U.S. Embassy and they filled out visa applications. Fill out the paperwork. That's not too much to ask. If you want to come to America, ring the front doorbell. Don't run in and break in through the bathroom window, which is the approach these people are taking now.
And, when when DeRoy talks about, ring the doorbell, come in, I mean,
right.
Our country is our home.
That's right.
And, you referred to this, some people take objection when you call it an invasion. I don't know what the heck else to call it. But you call them a horde.
It's an invasion.
You call them a horde. That was a word that I hadn't heard. Why?
Because it's a huge group of people from another country that are flying a flag to enter our country. That doesn't look like people that are seeking asylum. It doesn't look like people that are, escaping persecution. They're coming here as an invasion, plain and simple. A lot of it has to do with the economy. Hey, if you guys want to give credit to President Trump, then give him credit because of the economy. That's one of the reasons they're coming up here. The reality is we have a president that's doing everything he can, and everyone else needs to get on board. That's the bottom line.
Hey, Janine,
we all want to feel secure in our homes.
Go ahead, Sean.
I will say that you mentioned at the beginning, America First Action and America First PAC have been in this fight with the president, airing ads, putting out videos, making sure that the research is done. But we're going to make sure that we do our part to spread the word about what the president's policies are doing and to put pressure on Congress as we head into these final days of this Congress.
Well, absolutely. And, one of the things that I think is so important right now is that Tijuana has actually declared a humanitarian crisis.
Right.
And, apparently, as this caravan's been moving, gentlemen, they've stayed 1 or 2 nights in a particular town. And so the town is happy to give them food and give them, a place to stay. But I think we're looking at the crisis of, Guatemala and Tijuana. But Tijuana in particular, in addition to some of the violence that we're seeing, they're saying, look, we need the United Nations to come in. This caravan is out of control. Go ahead, DeRoy.
Well, yeah, I think also my question here is, where is it written that anybody has a right to come into this country?
They don't have it.
If you leave Honduras and you get to Mexico, you're entering a country that's about 4 times wealthier than Honduras is. And I'd say, hey, that's pretty comfortable. And the Mexican government has said, we'll give you homes, we'll give you education, we'll give you health care.
Right.
They ought to say, hey, this is great, we'll take that deal. And their attitude is basically like the Steely Dan song, whoa, no, Guadalajara won't do. And then here they come to Tijuana, ready to rush the border in the United States. Again, where do we have the obligation to let them in, especially when they don't ask permission to come in here?
Well, there's no question. And Art,
Judge,
why are they not, I'm going to go right to you, but why are they not taking advantage of what Mexico's offering them?
Because they don't want to. They don't want to, because it's not that they're looking for asylum. They're looking to come into the United States because they probably have jobs already lined up here. They probably have people already here that are waiting for them. That's the reality. They want to invade our country. They want to come in here because there's no consequences for them. That's what it is. And it's not a race issue. People need to get away from this. You're seeing the mayor of Tijuana and everything he's saying. No one's calling him a racist.
That's
Yet,
right.
President Trump has said all the right things, and you turn around and you call it a racist statement here. It has nothing to do with race. Illegal is not a race. Illegal is simply illegal. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things.
So well said. And, you know, Sean, I'm going to go to you. You know, one of the things that I saw today was a video where one of these Caravan members is yelling, "Open the gates, Trump. We are looking to come in. We are looking for work." I mean, can you imagine while they fly the flag of their own country, they say, "Trump, open the gates." I mean, and God forbid you try to deport them to that country they were waving the flag on. That's why they want to get on our soil, so they can immediately have constitutional rights. Exactly, Sean.
Well, look, I think they recognize the fact that this president's created an amazing economy here in the United States. There's a ton of jobs available, and they see that. They want to come up here for the jobs. But at the same time, the president's continued to be tough on immigration. He understands that we have to have border security. So that there's this catch-22. He's creating an amazing economy where there's tons of jobs to go around, and people are using that as a magnet to want to come into this country. But the president's been very clear that we're still a country of immigrants. We're a welcoming country, but you have to do it legally. And I think that's where where people have to understand that the president wants to have law and order. He wants to have a vibrant country that continues to welcome people, but do so in an orderly way.
Well, the way they're supposed to. Anyway, great discussion. DeRoy, Sean, and Art. Sorry, next time we'll come back to you.